Hey Pete, so got a question for you.
Yeah.
Why do you think vendors and even landlords, sometimes they actually hang on to that price, and they actually potentially lose money in the process?
So the question is, why do they hang on to it? And why do they not change something like price potentially,
Yeah.
and just wait? So morning everyone. It's a while since we've done one of these walk and talks, but we're not actually walking. We're sitting and talking for a change, having our morning coffee. Freddie's all washed as well, by the way.
That didn't happen.
Karen just raised her coffee cup. Okay, so I'll get into the question. So, there's this idea that if you hold off, the right buyer or the right tenant will come along, and the longer you wait, you'll find that right person. It's just like they're waiting for that one person who will go, I want this property, I want to buy it, or I want to rent it, and I'll pay the price that you, Mr. Vendor, or you, Mr. Landlord, or Mrs. Landlord, are asking. And that's a massive mistake. Now, personal example of this is I've been trying to rent and buy or a combination, I guess, put an option on a property in New Farm, and as a tenancy for us to expand our business, because we've got other agents that want to join us. And long story short, I've been hunting around for quite a while, and there's one particular property that's been on the market since looking for tenants. It seems like over a year now.
It seems like a year.
Yeah, and it's not going anywhere. And prior to it being vacant, they had some, you'd have to call them B-grade tenants, sort of like they would have been on a casual lease. They didn't do any fit out. They were never there for the long haul. And of course, they eventually left after 18 months or so. And now they're back to square one, empty. And I've made an offer. And based on what other tenancies are available in the street right now, one that I also looked at that I'm considering. And the interesting thing is it's been completely rejected with a 15% counter offer higher, and they're holding on to the price because that makes sense to them. But they could go a whole another 6 months or a year before they find a tenant. And sure, in a year's time they get that tenant potentially at that higher price if the market goes up. But here's the thing, if the market's not going up, I probably represent true market value right now, what I'm offering, based on, and I don't want to sound like it's sour grapes. I'm just giving you this as an example because it's really important. You can't just lock in a price, and if you do, you've got to be prepared, and you've got to look at what the cost of that locking in a price will do to you. And right now, days on market, like always, is really crucial whether you're selling or renting a property out. The longer a property sits on the market, it drives the price down artificially, because buyers or tenants start to think there's either something wrong with it or it's overpriced. And even if that's not true, if there's nothing, like it could be in perfect condition, or it might be a fair price, but that time on the market over time creates a stigma in the marketplace, and people like myself start to see an issue that may not actually be there with the property, and therefore that drives the price down. Now, I don't believe that's me at the moment. I think the property I'm looking at is actually really great, and it needs some work. Yet it has been on the market a long time. And I can see why, because there's problems like parking, etc., like that, and so they're not getting a normal retail, traditional retail operator in there. They're probably more suited to a service industry like the real estate industry or something else. So yeah, days on market's a killer. The psychology around it is I'll wait and it'll happen. But if it's not happening now, it's less likely to happen down the track, because buyers and tenants will start to form their own opinion about why it hasn't been leased or sold, and that will only drive them away from the property, not to the property. The best time to sell a property or to lease a property is in the first few weeks of it coming on the market. That's when the market's going to be the hottest for that property. So you've got to be quick, sharp, get it on the market, and really pitch the price based on real time, what other competitors are selling or leasing at, what tenants and buyers have actually paid or rented for a property of similar style in recent times. And you've got to take into consideration the trend of the market. What's the market doing? Is it going up, down, or is it flat? There's an old saying as a commodity trader, that's where I got my trading years ago, and that is the trend is your friend. So always consider what the trend of the market is to understand what will happen to price over time. It's really important. So yeah, I hope I've answered your question a little bit of a roundabout way. But yeah, now's the time to always consider your price and the effect it's having on the marketplace. Where you're pitching your property, it's actually the fifth step in the love price in my book, which you can get a copy of on my website. There's a free download of my ebook there. Get a copy of that. It'll explain it in more detail. Anyway, see you. I hope thanks, Karen.
Thanks, Peter.
Bye.